Welcome back, Yang. Thank you for returning to day 5 of Creating Calm in the Chaos. My name is Dr. Adam Bledsoe, and I'm sitting here with Dr. Christina Carreau. And today we're here to talk about purpose, or another way to call that is your big why, or another way to refer to that is the meaning behind what's going on for you. And so in that little piece right there, I almost defined purpose for us to start us off. I've written it down as your big why, or it's the big goal behind the goals. But earlier when we were talking, we realized how hard this concept is because it's massive. And Dr. Christina came up with this really great metaphor for what purpose is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, yeah, I was just describing when we talked the other day about mindset, we were talking about, setting an intention, and that your intention was sort of your, kind of like your compass in the forest. Your intention was guiding you, leading you to during your day, right? And so I really think that, when I think about your purpose or your why, it's kind of the direction that your compass is pointing. Right. And so it really is helping us navigate. And sometimes, as long as we know that we're headed north or south or east, it's really important. Otherwise, we're just blowing around. And when chaos strikes, there's nothing really grounding us because we're not looking ahead. We're just in the moment. And the moments, sometimes, again, as we know, this past year, there's been so many uncertainty and so many changes. That one thing that's definitely helped, navigate challenging times has been having this purpose, having this, big why, right? In terms of it might be an ever-changing why, but just having some sort of direction. So, yeah,
Yes. And that's what we find purpose does. So when we have purpose, like you're saying, it's a big why, and that big why is above all the other little things. So when the little turmoil occurs or it starts to rain or whatnot, we still know where we're heading. And it helps us stay grounded, helps us stay focused, helps us stay a bit more peaceful inside because we know this too shall pass.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, totally. And even when you were saying that, it was actually, I was reflecting on the fact that it really is so much easier to be mindful, to be in the present moment and feel calm in the present moment when we know where it is that we're wanting to land.
Right.
Right.
So true.
Because
I feel like that brings me to my purpose story for COVID, because I had a moment. And it was the very beginning of this, back March 2020. And I just realized that my girls were going to be bumped from school. And that was kind of startling because I thought to myself, I can do this. I've got a pretty full life, but how are they going to weather this? And I literally said to myself, in 10 years, I want them to be able to look back on this experience, and it will have been in some way that I can't even predict, a seed of something special for them. And to that end, it helped me focus on teaching them how to cook, and they learned how to bake, and they would cook for us every second Saturday nights. And we have a chore schedule, which I know sounds like a job, but it actually helped them like level up their life skills. And so that made me feel good, and it gave them stability. And so that was my purpose over this time. And it's been rolling out beautifully ever since. And it gave everyone some calm.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I've realized, and similar to you, just in terms of hanging out with the kids and having more proximity this past year, kids really are more resilient than we are a lot of the time. They're kind of, it feels like they're helping guide us. When we look to them to be our teachers, sometimes it feels like they're just rolling with the punches. It's like, hey, cool, no school. Yeah. Right. They're not, sort of phased. And so I found that I've actually taken some peace from watching them just be like, whatever,
we can do this.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking like, oh no, when is school opening? But they're just going with it. And yeah, they've done all kinds of awesome things, like learning to knit, just like you're talking about, all these little things that they've been able to have time for. So all these different skill sets. And again, our kids are younger. So it's not like I don't have kids in high school where I have to worry about them missing out on, grades for university. So I realize I feel pretty lucky in that regard, that the kids are younger, that they, the school stress hasn't been a big issue. But yeah, it definitely feels like there's so many blessings in just things changing and knowing that, again, one thing that's certain in life is uncertainty.
Right. One of the things we were talking about before was that part of purpose allows us to extract lessons from tough stuff, which, like you're saying about the knitting and the proximity piece, you know, we're able to extract lessons from tough things when the purpose is stronger. But we had quite a lead up conversation before we started recording this because of how challenging purpose is. So explain a couple of the reasons why purpose is tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I guess, it is a little bit tough to talk about, but sometimes it can even be tough to think about, right? Just in
Yeah,
terms of, it really is about getting us to put on our dreamer's hat, right? Getting us to think about that thing that really lights us up. And sometimes we're rewarded for being more practical. We're rewarded for
right.
things that sometimes can, you know, pay the bills, or can, basically, playing it safe sometimes, is we can be rewarded for that. And so sometimes I feel like I don't know, we're just going through life. I know for me personally, I felt like I was going through motions of life, and I landed with a family which I knew that I wanted, kids and dog and career, and I was just chugging along, and one day, kind of looked up and thought, like, everything is great, but there's something missing. Like, there's
Mm,
that something missing. Like, where am I headed with this? I don't know if I want to do this for 20 more years, in terms of, for me, I was thinking more work wise. That one-on-one model of care that I was in, I was really feeling like there was something else. And so I think that sort of, it's hard to think about that, because then your wheels are turning and spinning, and there's no beginning and there's no end. And so but anyways, yeah, it is also very exciting. Sometimes I realize,
yeah,
like, when I say the word, like, it's scary, when I just replace the word scary with exciting or invigorating, those feelings tend to feel very similar, but we have a resistance to one, and we have a real welcoming relationship with the other. So I think that, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing when you start thinking about, like, what is it? If this is my one life to live, what do I really truly want? What makes my heart smile when I think about it? What makes me feel like this is the gift that I have. This is what I want to bring to the world.
right.
So,
Extracting that special little thing out of us, which so often with many of the writers who talk about this, our purpose tends to come from our challenge. Our hardest times can light that fire within us to help spark us to move forward. And those often who have created the biggest impact have maybe had the hardest challenges. Oprah is an example that's often used, is that she was hurt a great deal when she was younger, and in so she's become so strong and created a great purpose. But looking back on that must be hard to extract the information from. So looking back can be challenging as well.
definitely, yeah.
So how do we the how behind purpose, what's the how, for those that are high level purpose at this point, and those who are just contemplating it for the first time, what are the easy hows?
Yeah, I think that it probably comes back to so many of the things that we've said before, right? Is creating time,
Right.
creating space, and creating awareness to just think about, yeah, your heart's level of, joy, your
Hmm.
mind's level of calm, and your soul's level of, kind of peace. Or I don't know, maybe those are, maybe the mind's peace and the soul is calm or fulfilled, or I don't know. But I think just sort of asking the questions, like, where, yeah, just what if you just flash forwarded, what if you just flash forwarded to your end,
Like
and
10 years from now, I want my daughters to, that time scale really
yeah.
helped.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, if we're able to kind of just think about, again, it doesn't have to be a big thing, right? We don't have to all have a big, my mission is to, and again, I think that I've gotten, really cerebral around some of this. Like, this was Dr. Bledsoe's topic that he brought to the table. And I was sort of like, holy smokes, this is a crazy, huge topic. And I don't know how to speak to this, and getting really cerebral around it. But I know that, again, when we start thinking about these big picture things, when I start thinking about, like, my if I share some of my whys, I just want to change our relationship with stress, right? I realize both from a personal standpoint and then from a pandemic, and I want our relationship with stress to be one of greater ease, right? That's one of my big purposes. I want to live more wholeheartedly, right? I just really want to feel like I cultivate things that serve me and I let go of things that don't. I think reading Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead, actually, at the very beginning of the pandemic, I started a book club because I had time and I needed community. And I read that book. And in her book, she talks about these, the gifts of imperfection, and talks about the guideposts for wholehearted living. And it really struck a chord with me and felt like, what if we all just agreed that that was our purpose, to live wholeheartedly? Wouldn't that
Right.
be
Just
cool?
show up.
Yeah.
Right.
But actually, I don't really have any gems in terms of how do we do this or where do we begin. I think it's just start where you are, do what you can, create time, create space. And this is actually more your area of expertise, Adam. So what do you suggest people? What do you
I think
suggest people do?
we're all doing it. It's kind of neat to see us all evaluate this on the fly with such a big challenge like COVID has been. And I think where I sit with purpose has always been your special gift in service with passion. So I'm echoing what you said. What lights your heart up? What's special or unique about you? And how can you share it with others to create something better?
Mhm.
And so purpose becomes much more simple when you think about how do I help others with this thing that I'm good at in a way that lights me up.
Yes.
Might be our summary.
Yeah. Awesome. It's a great summary. All right. Well, with that, hopefully we haven't scared anyone away. We'll just remind you guys about our upcoming event on April 2nd. We're doing our Community Connect, which we're super excited about. And Dr. Bledsoe is going to be leading us through a guided meditation. And we're going to do some live Q&A, and we're going to do some shares. And yeah, it's just going to be a nice way to kick off the long weekend. So we'll hope to see you all there, and thanks so much for being here with us. And we hope that you have a good day thinking about your purpose.
Take care. Thanks
Take
for coming.
care. Bye.